Hello, my name is Florencia Croizet. I'm from Argentina. Thanks for the invitation. I will be presenting a project that I developed last year, which is the creation of a video game for a national museum here in Buenos Aires. But before talking about my project, I brought some examples, European examples, and then I will be talking about what had happened here in Argentina in relation to video games and museums. So the first example I brought is a French museum, which is a video game called Mission Sigomar, and it was created by the museums that belong to the city of Paris, and it is a graphic adventure. And the second example I brought is a Spanish one made by the Thyssen-Bornemisza. It is an art museum, and it's also a graphic adventure, and they are two projects that were conceived to be played outside the museum. It is not necessary to be at the institutions in order to play those games. And now I will be talking about the Argentine examples I brought. The first one I have to show you is another graphic adventure, which is the Mysterious Tunnels of the Manzana de las Luces, which is the museum, and it is an historical museum here in Buenos Aires. The previous game was made in 2018, and the one that we're talking now, which is not yet able to be played. It was made thanks to an alliance that was held between Wikimedia Argentina and a small museum in the south of Argentina. It will be also a graphic adventure, and this one will be called The Adventures of Carmen Funes, which is a historical character here in the south of the country. And the last project I have to show you is actually Game Jam. Game jams are events that come from the video game industry, where different students or professionals gather a couple of days in order to create a video game. So this time, it was actually happened a couple of months ago. In this time, an organization of video games and historical museum, ex-ESMA, gathered in order to create this event. And the point was to create video games in order to promote human rights, because this museum was, in the past, during our last dictatorship, was an illegal prison, and now it is a museum. That is why they were interested in this topic. So now I'll be talking about my project, which is called Búsqueda Interestelar, Space Search will be the translation, and it was made based on the Sarmiento Museum's collections, which is a national museum located in Buenos Aires. That is the facade of the building. But before talking about the project, I'd like to talk about the context we have to work. And the first thing to say is that these projects are expensive. In general, they are expensive and difficult to manage from the museum field. Particularly here in Argentina, we have 130% inflation annually, so it is a difficult context for us to work in this kind of projects, which would last at least a year to be created. Another point here, in general, that we are a poor country, so in general we don't have big budgets for cultural projects. Indeed, the budget for this project was only $1,200 completely. And the other point here is that we still have like an old-fashioned mindset in terms of linking technology and heritage. Indeed, when I had one meeting with one of the advisors of the museum, she told me that we were not able to do this project because we are not the Louvre. So I always bring the thing that I was told at that moment. But we persevered and we did it. It took 1 year to create the video game, and we were just 4 people in the team. It was me as the leader of the project and the game designer. Then I hired a developer, 2D artist, and a sound or music designer too. The project would have not been able without our partners. We have like 3 partners. First of all, the Ministry of Culture of Buenos Aires, which selected the project in order to get funding from a private partner, which was Banco Galicia, the Spanish Banco Galicia. And another important partner we have was the Game Lab, which was another video game organization. In this case, we did not get funding from them, but we got mentors, we got training, and for me, who I am not from the video game field, it was very important. So the Ministry of Culture of Buenos Aires, Banco Galicia, and also Game Lab were our three partners. So the big question was, why a video game? And we have some answers. We had some goals, and that is why we decided to create a video game. First of all, we wanted to reach new audiences, young generations. This museum actually is not visited by young people. Instead, they are, in general, adults. So we needed to reach those audiences. And we thought that with a video game would be a good strategy. Another important point is that it is a national museum, but it is located in the capital city. So it is very difficult for the museum to generate products that could be consumed in the rest of the country. So we thought that a video game, as it was thought to be on the web and also to be played at the exhibit, so we could solve this problem. And another point is that we wanted to dive into one of the topics of the main exhibition, which is the creation of an astronomical observatory. I will be talking later about it. But those were the reasons why we decided to create a video game. So now it's time to talk about the video game we developed, Búsqueda Interestelar, Space Search. So we have like three characters. Actually, they were two people that existed and a fictional character. So the first one is Sarmiento, which is like one of the founders of Argentina and the father of education here in the country. Then we have Gould, which was a scientist that was the director of this astronomical observatory that was created under the Sarmiento's administration because he was one of the presidents of this country. And then we invented our hero, which was Filomena, which is a space spy. So in this video, you will see different parts of the game. We chose to create a platform video game. The story is about that Gould, the scientist, is kidnapped. He was by aliens, and he was the director of this astronomical observatory. So we were in 1871, and Sarmiento decides to call Filomena the space spy, and he orders her to find him. So she starts the search in the Plaza de Mayo Square, which is the most important square in Buenos Aires, and then she travels to the space. There she has to sort different obstacles. She has to jump, to fly, to fight, and in order to find Gold. So there are two levels, game levels, and then the player finds Gold, and then the player wins the game. For developing the game, we used the museum's collections for inspiration. For example, Gold threw different leads in the planets, and those leads were actual objects of the collections. And also, for example, to create the characters and the clothes and the Plaza de Mayo Square, we used photographies and object collections from the museum. So the video game will be soon online in order to be played. It will be on the Sarmiento's webpage. It is for free. You don't have to pay to play it. And it is now available to play at the exhibition. And to sum up, I would like to share with you some conclusions. It was a very challenging project for me because I don't come from the video game industry. I come from the museum world. So at the beginning, it was difficult for me to communicate with professionals. And indeed, they were students because we don't have strong budgets to hire professionals, so we decided to work with students. It was difficult for us to communicate and to understand each other, but we achieved to do that. And for me, it was very important to be open to learn from them because they knew more than me in this sense. Another point to highlight is that alliances in these projects are the key, I think, because without the bank, without the Ministry of Culture, and without Game Lab, it would have been impossible to create this video game. And another point I like to say is that this is the evidence that maybe it is not compulsory or it's not necessary to have like huge budgets in order to innovate in the museum field. So I hope you like this presentation and maybe you get inspiration from it. Thank you very much.